Here's why you play Barats, the Dino Rider in the EXP lane. First off, he has exceptional scaling defenses thanks to his passive, making him tankier as fights go on. Barats provides strong crowd control with his ultimate and second skill, allowing him to control the battlefield. His skills also boast massive area damage, making him effective in both one-on-one duels and team fights. However, Barats suffers from limited mobility, which makes him vulnerable to kiting by ranged heroes. He also relies heavily on stacks to maximize his effectiveness, requiring careful skill management. Barats' passive, Big Guy, causes Detona, the dinosaur, to grow in size and gain extra hybrid defense and resilience each time Barats or Detona damages enemies with his skills, stacking up to 10 times. At maximum stacks, Barats' basic attacks transform into trample, dealing AoE damage and slowing enemies. This passive is the cornerstone of Barats' playstyle, granting both durability and enhanced damage output during extended fights. Barats' first skill, so-called Teamwork, spits oil in a fan-shaped area, dealing damage. Barat then ignites the oil, causing a secondary explosion that deals extra burst damage. This skill's area increases with more passive stacks. You use this skill for wave clearing, poking enemies, and maintaining passive stacks during fights. Barat's second skill, Missile Expert, launches missiles at a location, damaging and slowing enemies in the area. The missiles also push enemies back toward Barats. This skill is perfect for repositioning enemies or setting up combos, particularly when following up with his ultimate. Barats' ultimate, Detona's Welcome, lets Detona charge in a direction, devouring the first enemy hit. After suppressing the target, Detona spits them out, dealing AoE damage and stunning enemies if the target collides with a wall or another hero. This skill is a powerful engage tool that can completely disable key targets while dealing heavy damage. In team fights, start by using your first skill to poke enemies and build stacks of Big Guy. Once you have gained sufficient stacks, use your second skill to pull an enemy closer, then immediately follow up with your ultimate to disable and burst them down. Finish off your enemies with enhanced basic attacks and your first skill for additional damage. Moving on to builds, I usually go Warrior Boots, War Axe, Thunder Belt, Sky Piercer, Immortality, and Guardian Helmet. These are the emblems that go along with this build. Moving on to battle spells, you should equip Flicker as it is excellent for closing gaps or escaping due to Barats' lack of mobility. Alternatively, you can equip Vengeance to boost survivability and inflict return damage in extended fights. Barat excels against tanky heroes with crowd control like Beleric and Lolita. However, he struggles against high mobility marksmen like Carry and Moskov who can kite him around while dealing significant damage. Barat synergizes well with supports like Angela or Matilda who can boost his mobility and survivability. You should level up the first skill first for better poke and passive stacking. Max the second skill next to enhance its utility in team fights. Upgrade the ultimate whenever available to ensure you can impact fights with its powerful crowd control. Barat thrives in prolonged engagements where he can stack Big Guy to maximize his durability and damage. In the early game, focus on clearing waves and poking your enemies with the first skill to build stacks. During team fights, positioning yourself strategically to make the most out of your crowd control from the second skill and ultimate. Use your second skill to peel for allies or isolate key enemies, and always aim to split targets from your ultimate into walls or enemy formations for maximum impact. Remember that Barats is vulnerable to kiting, so avoid overextending without backup or an escape plan. Maintain your stacks between fights by targeting his minions or jungle monsters to stay effective.